My off season has just started, so you know what it's time for? Not just to start lifting, but it's race season recap time. Hey cycling community, this is Steve, Grusis the Cycling Greek. Coming into this race season, I had this dichotomous aura about me. My training was going quite well. I didn't have any major injuries to come back from, nor did I have any AFib attacks to come back from. On the other hand, I didn't know what my competition that was going to be aging up into my age group, and for those of you not familiar with my channel, that's the 65 plus age group, I didn't know what they were going to be like. Would I be off the back with these guys at each race? Also, I'd gotten another year older. Did I finally turn the corner and not be able to do the things that I was able to do before? And again, be off the back at every race, so now I have to go find something else to do. Only time will tell. Alright, first race of the season, Cantua Creek Road Race. Mostly flat, 2 climbs, 2 1-mile climbs, 1 in the middle, 1 toward the end.
Lying when he told me that Matt's a real good climber, and you can see that he's starting to pass me. I'd love to stand and be able to match him, but I can't. I'm figuring 164.5 is my maximum heart rate. I quickly look back, figured that I'm safe, and I dial back a bit because I'm pretty green.
Ever since the first time I got AFib when I was about 60 years old, and my last attack was about 16 months ago, I developed these rules that would guide me in terms of enabling me to decrease the number of times that I would get AFib. And one of those rules was I would never do 2 hard workouts in a row, one day and then the next day. And so that also meant with 2 hard races. And this time I ignored it, because after the Cantua Creek Road Race, the next road race was Pine Flat Road Race, and this is mountainous. And they combined us with the 60 pluses because there were so few of the 65s in there. And the reason I did that race is because it was also local, like the Cantua Creek Road Race was. Just get out of bed, go to the start, and then there, and also to support the racing in general. Just have another registration there. I was nervous about the race, but I was also feeling good. So this is how it turned out.
There is surging in the front. There's a gap that's created. Now I'm on the wrong end of the gap. I think that even if I was with those guys, I still couldn't hang on with them. I'm running out of energy. Or rather, because of the way I felt, I'm running out of muscle. If I can just get to the top with what remains of this group, then I'll have a chance to reconnect. You'll notice my heart rate in the upper left-hand corner in the graphics that I'm about 145. Now my max is about 164 based on yesterday. But like I was saying earlier, this feels more muscular in terms of me being able to keep up. It could be that doing 2 road races in a row, that's something that my body just wasn't ready for. You'll notice that pretty much everyone is in front of me. There's only one person back there, and he's going to pass me up in about 3 seconds, and there he goes.
The next weekend was the Snelling Road Race. Flattish. I had 1 good race, 1 understandably bad race, so I was feeling pretty confident. And then I got to the start line and I saw this.
3 times when I was having... Some of you guys on Body Concepts will seriously have to come over to my team. Too many of you guys here. And now that I said all that, Matt's teammate puts in an excellent attack. Okay, Matt, we got a break. Okay, come on. Back by 1 or 2 bike lengths to start my run, so by the time I pass them, I'm going maybe 5 to 6, 7 miles faster an hour than they're doing. And do it on the left side, because they're not expecting anybody to be on the left side. Now I am committed. Everything has to go into this. It's quite possible that the energy I put into this bridge and the brake is going to be all that I have available for the race if it doesn't work. Okay, good one. We passed some juniors up, and as you can see, those in back of us are getting closer, and I'm hoping these juniors will confuse the chasing pack a bit. After another few minutes, we are caught. So we've been away for about 3 kilometers in all. My buddy Bob puts in a counter, something that I can't cover, but he is covered by Antonio, so that helps.
next race is something that I was really looking forward to, and it is an ugly road race. It is California's version of Paris-Roubaix, except with a lot more climbing. There weren't a lot of 65s, so this time they combined us with the 50-plus 4s, 5s, and that actually turned out to be a good coupling.
That's me. And you're probably wondering, where's the rest of the podium? Well, it all started that morning. Job one for me was get to the top with the leaders. 1 minute later, with still ample wall to go, I had to back off a bit and let these guys go. I don't think Bob Montori is up there. He's probably on my wheel, but I'm not sure. I now have to meter my energy and have to do what I can to stay as close as I can to when they get over the top. It is 1 minute later, and here's the situation. I am chasing with Russ Freeman. Now I know Russ, he lives in the area that I live. He's a pretty strong guy, so I don't want to get dropped. I want to be on his wheel when we get over the top, and that'll give me a better chance to hang on to those guys to see up there. After a minute of chasing, we're now on a moderate hill, and Robert, who's been in back of me, sees that I'm not going to make it. So this is where he makes his move. He jumps up, he's able to connect, and I'm not able to connect.
New shirt, second day of putting this video together. Who remembers these guys? Alright, the next road race that was coming up I was also looking forward to, but then I heard the thing that no one ever wants to hear. I put out a video in a while, and ordinarily I was going to put one out this week with the road race I did this past weekend, but that road race was canceled. And it was canceled because there weren't, and I couldn't find enough moto refs to service the road race during each of the flights, and there was only one flight, and they had something like, I don't know, 10 or 12 different races going on, a 21-mile loop. I don't know how they got that one to be okay. The next race I was really looking forward to, Winchester Road Race. Even though I didn't get into the top 3, it gave me a lot of confidence and showed me actually how much I had improved.
Can you go over the part about going slow up this? This is a 5-lap, 4.5 mile per lap race, 22.5 miles, so that would mean to hit that mountainous definition, that would be 22.500 feet. This course has 700 feet for climbing, so that's 3,500 feet. This was very mountainous. On the right, Cat 2 Kevin is attacking. The reason he's attacking is that in a little bit we're going to take a sharp right turn, then we're going to go up a wall. And that wall's going to hurt. Always hurts me. Most everyone is familiar with the course, so they know what's happening. They know they got to get up there. Okay, they're fanning out a bit. They're slowing up a bit. And I guess I was feeling good. So, for whatever reason, I put in an attack. I'm getting pretty tired now. And so I'm thinking, I'm not going to be able to do this for another 4 laps. So if I can just get to the top of this wall before they catch me, then I consider that a win. Okay, this is where that decision point comes. I've spoken about it before in other videos, where you think you're dead, but you're really not dead, and it's really a choice to go on. Now, I can't go any faster right now. I'm waiting for someone else to come up, kind of like fill a gap, so to speak, but I'm on the edge. I know I'm on the edge. And it's almost to the point where I feel like, okay, I've gone as far as I can, I'll just roll it in for the rest of the way. But I make a decision, I start to stand, and then I get back onto Bob's wheel. Or at least try to get on his wheel. The whole time I was chasing Matt, I was looking behind me. I didn't have a lot of legs.
Oh man.
Finally made it.
The first half of the season closed off with the Masters District Road Race Championships. I, of course, was doing the 65-69s, but they had us combined with the 60-64s. It was at that race that I realized that I could race with the best of the 60-pluses and still stay connected to them. This course was mainly flat. There were small climbs sprinkled throughout, including one with 1K to go.
We are at the top of the climb. It's 1 kilometer to go. I am disconnected. The pack seems so close, but I am redlined. Fortunately, I recover quickly, but not totally recover. I'm trying to go as fast as I can, but those guys are going faster. So I know I'm not going to catch them. All I'm thinking about now is Brian that's behind me. Brian has a lot of endurance and he's strong on the flats. Fortunately for me, for today, he's not very good at climbing. More specifically, not climbing at speed. That gave me a lot of distance for once I went over the top. He's chasing me. I know he's chasing me. He knows I know he's chasing me. Did you know that kilometers are over half a mile? Right now, I gotta say, they seem pretty damn long. Pretty much, I'm on the edge this whole way, on the edge with not a lot of power. In the back of my mind, there's this nagging temptation just to ease off just a bit, just so it won't hurt. I remember there was a 200-meter to go sign, but I don't remember seeing it yet. It's probably something like 10 miles away. Wait, what's that in the distance? I thought that during this last kilometer I had turned back at least once to see where Brian was. When I'm doing the playback on the video, putting this video together, it looks like I didn't. I can see that Brian's getting closer. I can remember standing up and sprinting, and I may be sprinting right now, but I couldn't sprint all the way to the line, and I remember sitting down and just spinning as fast as I could. Good Lord, if that climb topped out at 1.5 km, he would have caught me.
After districts, I did something that I never really had done well before. I took 4 to 6 weeks and just did endurance. Well, I did a few pickups so I wouldn't lose my upper end, but it was mostly endurance. As I got closer to my next road race, a very tough one that I was again looking forward to, Leesville Gap, I started to pick up on my training. That race showed me two things. One, that I hadn't topped out and I was still improving, and two, you never know what to expect. If you race long enough, there will be hopefully those very rare occasions where most everything goes wrong. Along with everything that you may have seen in my previous video, I woke up this morning with intestinal problems, the big D. This can be a very short race for me, or a very miserable race. Up ahead we'll be starting what we call the switchback section. They're not all switchbacks, but there's some tight turns that are coming up, and it's that section where things get steeper. And it's here where the gap between the first and second wheel is now expanded about 4 bike lengths, where I decide I've had enough. I gotta get up to him. And when I make my move, it's decisive. When I get onto his wheel and realize that I'm not overly stressed at all, it was at that point that neither the bad moves I made earlier this week nor the big D I encountered earlier this morning was going to have a negative effect on my race. Now you notice somebody went ahead of me because I couldn't hang on to a 792's wheel. It now looks like the positive effects of that little bit of rest have now gone away. We are at the 1.6 mile mark. I wasn't going to be able to catch him on my own, and I looked back previously and I saw a couple riders coming up. I slowed because I wasn't going to be able to do anything on my own, and I was hoping they were 50 pluses. But when they came by, it was Bob and Bob from my race. My possible first place has now gone to third place. But wait, there's a gravel section coming up, the last gravel section, and it's a sharp right turn coming into it, and it looks a little deep. They are hesitant. I go on the outside and just power through it, hoping that they're going to stay hesitant. I don't know if you can see this, but this is the valve core, the valve and the extension. The next road race was another tough road race that I was looking forward to. Patterson Pass Road Race. It had 2 multi-mile climbs in it and a separate finishing climb. Weeks before, I thought I had a pretty good chance of winning this. Well, that was until I saw who signed up. Okay, so Bob, now we're starting the race, and all of a sudden, new guy Ken just goes to the front. So I'm figuring, okay, he's new, he doesn't know about tactics and stuff, and man, that's a lot of work out there because it was a headwind coming up there, and sometimes we'd have a kind of a cross headwind, but he stayed out there, and I was, I say God bless him, and everybody was behind him. Now we're starting on that second climb, and we're not lollygagging, we're not going slow, and we're going respectable speed. Then all of a sudden, Tim Davis goes to the front and then starts going faster little by little. So I'm on his wheel. And I last for 90 seconds before I have to back off because he's just going faster and faster. And now we're heading to the finishing climb, the 1 mile finishing climb. And all I'm thinking about is I got to get on the podium. That's my life goal for how I'm racing now and all that. Get on the podium, get a picture, show my buddies. Okay, so
we started the climb, and Bob at this point, because previously Bob and you, Ken, were pulling. Now Bob's exclusively pulling. And I was thinking, okay, new guy Ken's pulling. Bob's doing a lot of pulling. They're going to be tired. And so, yeah, I'm going to get on the podium. I am doing everything I can to not get passed by new guy Ken and to try and get the other Bob. So I'm actually in my drops. I'm not even holding my head up. I'm looking down at the ground, and I'm standing and sprinting. But at that point, I can only do that for like 3-4 seconds, and I got to sit down again. And I do that continually. And then for a moment, I'm thinking, yeah, because Bob, the other Bob's starting to come back, that I can punch it and get him at the end. So I'm standing and sprinting and doing that. And again, still doing the 3 seconds on, 3 seconds off thing. But that's wearing Ken out. Ken's getting worn out. So as it turns out, I never catch the other Bob. He comes in. I then come in, and then new guy Ken comes in.
With 2 more upcoming cancellations, I was looking now at the last road race of the season for me, San Nardo Road Race. Previous year, it was a District Road Race Championships location, but now it's just another road race. And maybe that's why there were only 4 65 pluses signed up. Be that as it may, we treated it as a breakaway. One of the riders had dropped off on the previous lap, and now we were coming into the last K. In the front is my buddy Bob. He's the odds-on favorites to win. He's a very strong sprinter. On his wheel is my buddy Brian. He's also a strong sprinter, and he does very well in the flats. Not so well in the climbs. However, that's the way it used to be. He's improved quite a bit, and I thought he was going to get spit out earlier on these climbs. Like the 4th person in our ride, he got spit out on the feed zone hill on the previous lap. There's 2 23-mile laps. So, I'm now on Brian's wheel, and Brian is starting to develop a gap between him and Bob in the front. And I'm starting to think, do I need to go and fill that gap? So I thought, nah, okay, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to stay here and be patient. Now that gap is slowly starting to grow, and I was getting more tempted, but I decided to be where I was. Now, 2 weeks earlier, I had been on my couch thinking, okay, this is what I need to do for this race. I need to go on that hill toward the bottom, toward the middle, and just jump on it, and then get a gap on everybody, and then win the race. Well, that's easier said than done, especially when you're on the couch. So now when I'm in the race, I'm seeing how strong Brian is, and I thought better of it. So we round the corner to start the sprint, and so the corner is about 180 meters from the finish, and Bob just takes off and goes. I then jump to go after him. That was a bumpy sprint. I take a pedal and bump, take another pedal and bump, but I was able to hang on for second place.
If the riders are ready.
And they're off!
What? You expected the race to start right now? It will in a minute. This crit plays into all my weaknesses. It's very technical, with 10 turns and 3/4 miles. It has a climb in it, and we're combined with a slightly younger group, which is much faster. I also haven't done a crit in a year and a half. A cycling community, this is Steve Crucis, the Cycling Greek. And so that's what I'm looking at. Okay, please stay on a wheel, because you're in a good position. Okay, thank goodness. So, now I go. And I quickly look back. Actually, I don't look back yet. But as I turn the corner, I think I'm looking back at that point, and so I'm noticing that, they're letting me go. So we have this guy up ahead there, and I think that is Clean Power. A teammate of Frank's, but a teammate that's in his 60s, 64s. So if I can get to him, that'll be great. But as I get closer, that guy's pretty strong, and so he's going stronger. So I'm not getting to him as fast as I want to. So I realize that, and I'm also thinking that these guys are going to be coming up on me soon. So I don't want to go into the red to try and catch up to him. I'm feeling good right now. It's about 7 laps to go. I think we crossed with 7 to go. CG's in form, and my heart rate's below 150. And when CG's in form, nobody rests. So I take off right here. And these guys are letting me go. Now, the advantage of being the YouTube star that I am, they all know that I'm 65 plus, have a little bit of AFib situation going on. So they're thinking, hey, let him go. We're going to catch this guy later on. And there they are. and I crossed the line with 3 laps to go. Okay, right about here, I realized that they've connected. So I'm just keeping about my speed, and at this point, I think that's Eric Salinger. He makes an excellent move. He counters me. Jeff is certainly not going to let that go, so he jumps after it. So that means everyone else is going to jump after it. And this is going to happen while I am now trying to recover. My heart rate's now down to the low 150s, but oh boy, that was real tight right there. It had a little bit of scraping at elbows too, but that caused me to slow down just a bit. But everyone's going faster as I slow down just a bit, and so you're seeing what's happening with me now. Half a lap, quarter lap to go. Check out the shadows as I turn this corner. One of those is Frank. And so I'm thinking he's on my right side. So I go over to the right to shut the door. And there's not a lot of people back there. So he just comes into my left, takes the corner. And I'm thinking, damn it. So I got to take this corner right. I take it tight, sort of tight. And now I'm starting to sprint. Again, don't know where anybody is in terms of 65s. Frank is just sprinting away from me. This guy comes by me, but this guy's a 60 plus. So now my only thought is, man, did I get 3rd place? Why, yes, I did.
And that was my season. It was good and it was fun. I made improvements and I made new friends. Look for my upcoming videos on my off-season training and on attaining functional longevity. And as always, remember, comment, like, subscribe. I just need one more subscriber to hit that 1,000. The Cycling Greek.